Tonight, President-elect Joe Biden takes aim at President Trump.
The court sent a clear signal to President Trump that there would be no part of an unprecedented assault on our democracy.
The latest on what comes next as America inches closer to a new administration. Plus, the fight against the coronavirus.
Don't hesitate. I have seen the other side. It's dark. Please take the vaccine.
Where things stand now, even as a second drug maker gets closer to final vaccine approval. And
Biden and his son are stone cold crooked.
A detailed look into the newly announced investigations into Hunter Biden. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation.
Marching forward after the Electoral College speaks. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Jenna Bretter.
And I'm John Jessup. Now certified as the nation's 46th president by the Electoral College, Joe Biden is busy building his cabinet, potentially naming Pete Buttigieg to head the Department of Transportation while also trying to shape the balance of power right here in Washington.
Today, President-elect Biden was on the campaign trail in Georgia to stump for Democratic candidates in the Senate runoff elections. CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy joins us with Biden's message to the nation. Ben?
Well, Jenna, John Biden called for unity when addressing the nation. And today he said he's acting on that message when talking to key Republican lawmakers who he's prepared to work with next month.
Our country has officially a president-elect and a vice president-elect.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell facing the facts, recognizing Biden as the president-elect for the first time after the Electoral College voted to formalize his victory.
So I called him to thank him for the congratulations. Told him, although we disagree on a lot of things, there's things we can work together on.
But President Trump's not ready to work with Biden and has refused to concede, saying the fight to overturn the election results is not over. Tweeting tremendous evidence pouring in on voter fraud. There has never been anything like this in our country.
The president is still involved in ongoing litigation related to the election. Yesterday's vote was one step in the constitutional process, so I will leave that to him.
The Supreme Court refused to hear a Texas lawsuit challenging votes in 4 battleground states. To top that, Trump and his allies have lost nearly 50 cases since Election Day.
The court sent a clear signal to President Trump that there would be no part of an unprecedented assault on our democracy.
Today, Stop the Steal Coalition held a news conference in D.C. as they continue to fight the outcome of the election. As for President-elect Biden, he said we need to work together and said today that he plans to reach out to McConnell, quote, sooner rather than later. John, Jenna?
All right, CBN White House correspondent Ben Kennedy, thank you. Meanwhile, Attorney General Bill Barr is stepping down. He will be leaving office December 23rd. His deputy, Jeffrey Rosen, will take over until another AG is named. Throughout his term, Barr staunchly defended the president and actively pursued his policies. But the AG fell out of favor in recent weeks. First, he announced investigators did not find enough widespread fraud to change the outcome of the election. Then came news he didn't disclose an investigation into Hunter Biden. And later in the program, we will have an in-depth look at that investigation. But now CBN Chief Political Analyst David Brody joins us now to discuss Barr and his resignation. David, this really all comes down to timing. Why did Bill Barr step down now?
Well, Jenna, let's be fully honest and transparent here. Only Bill Barr knows the real reason for the timing of this. I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, he could have waited another month. I mean, clearly until, January 20th or so. But look, the letter was a gushing, fawning letter for Donald Trump. Donald Trump has not trashed the attorney general like he did Jeff Sessions. So you get the sense that on balance, most folks enjoyed Bill Barr as attorney general when it comes to a conservative perspective. And so I think there was a sense here that you wanted to leave it on good terms because, like I said, on balance, he had done a lot of good things. It didn't end well necessarily as it relates to election fraud and investigations into Hunter Biden. But overall, I mean, if you're looking between Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr, I think Donald Trump and conservatives will take Bill Barr over Sessions any day of the week.
David, back to the 2020 vote. We heard Joe Biden speak last night. It was his first forceful rebuttal to Trump's election challenge. Who was his target audience last night?
You know, it's hard to say, John. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't want to sound pessimistic about politics as usual, but, you know, it's your typical presidential speech, which, by the way, a lot of people would say that's a good thing, a typical presidential speech after Donald Trump. But, you know, who's it going for? You know, I guess you would say ordinary Americans, center-left folks, center-right folks, folks in the middle of the country. The problem, John and Jen, is that there's not a middle of the country anymore. I mean, there's Team A and there's Team B. And I think the question then becomes, you know, how do we strike a balance of unity and togetherness in a country that is so divided from a fracturing standpoint? So, you know, that's going to be Biden's challenge. He's going to want to kind of rise above it all with rhetoric. But, you know, if he really wanted to rise above it all, then maybe he would embrace some of the challenges that Donald Trump is trying to get here regarding transparency. He has not done that. And so he hasn't, therefore, reached out to any of the tens of millions of voters who feel that this election was stolen.
David, today Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell finally acknowledged Joe Biden as the president-elect after the Electoral College certification. You know, even Russian President Vladimir Putin offered his congratulations. Does this signal the end of the road for President Trump's election challenge?
Well, I think it was a big deal what McConnell did today. I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that this does not look like it's going to end well for the president. But what McConnell did today was put that on a fast track, 180 miles per hour train going straight north as for Joe Biden being the president. So, look, I mean, the fact that McConnell did that, I can tell you this. I talked to Eric Metaxas today, a Christian who we've had on quite a few times on the show. He said Mitch McConnell is a skunk, is what he called him. He said that Mitch McConnell should not be saying that. And why does Metaxas say that? Because ultimately things haven't played out all the way to January 6th. And technically, legislatures can still claim those electors up until January 6th. And Metaxas and many others want the whole constitutional process to play out, not just because it became December 14th, but January 6th is the key date.
So, David, how does this all affect election integrity and the vote moving forward from this election?
Well, John, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, I really don't. You know, there's going to be one side of it that says that this really hurts election integrity as it relates to what Donald Trump is doing to the process here. There will be others on the other side, the ones that support Donald Trump, that said there'll never be another fair and free election again. Look, John, Jenna, let me stop and pause. They believe this election was stolen. They think Democrats stole this election, and you can't convince them otherwise. And so, therefore, they think that, you know, if Trump runs in 2024, who cares? Who cares who the next person that runs is going to be? Because if elections can be rigged, that's the term they're using. If they can be rigged and stolen, then what does it matter for future elections? And so I think the answer to your question on election integrity is we don't know the final answer. But I can tell you this, there is a bad taste in the mouths of tens of millions of Americans who don't trust politicians, they don't trust the government, they don't trust our election system, and that's a real problem in this country.
All right, CBN Chief Political Analyst David Brody, we will leave it there this evening. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Well, as more Americans roll up their sleeves for the coronavirus vaccine, there's more promising news out today. The FDA is poised to authorize another vaccine candidate. Senior Washington correspondent Tara Mergener is here now with the latest. Tara, this is a major turning point in the pandemic.
That's right, John. The rollout comes as we hit another surge in COVID cases. And during some of the deadliest days of the pandemic, officials say this massive effort is a race against the clock.
For millions of Americans, the vaccine cannot come fast enough, with 193,000 new cases of COVID reported Monday, a record number of Americans in the hospital, and 300,000 plus deaths.
That's the worst public health catastrophe in 102 years since the 1918 pandemic.
I am the first person to take the vaccine, so woohoo!
An ABC poll shows 80% of Americans now want it.
3, 2, 1, vaccinate.
In what's considered the most ambitious vaccination campaign in U.S. history.
It's an achievement in this country beyond any that you could ever think of. It's as safe as it can be.
Frontline workers and healthcare professionals nationwide are rolling up their sleeves for Pfizer's first doses.
I feel safer about coming home to my family at night after having this vaccine.
Operation Warp Speed is hoping that more than 50 million Americans will be vaccinated by the end of January.
Don't hesitate. I have seen the other side. It's dark. Please take the vaccine. Please listen to the signs.
Another vaccine may not be far behind Pfizer's. Thursday, the FDA is holding a hearing with Moderna to consider its shot for emergency deployment.
I hope that this continues, this momentum, to lead to people to really, who are maybe on the fence about getting the vaccination, to make that decision, to realize how important this is.
Access for the general population is expected by March, with herd immunity by summer. Health experts say the next question is how long the vaccine will last. In Washington, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
All right, thank you so much, Tara, and we'll be right back after the break.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead, just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Welcome back. Today, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany sounded off about the media suppressing the Hunter Biden story.
This as some Republicans call for the appointment of a special counsel in the investigation into his foreign business dealings. CBN national security correspondent Eric Phillips joins us now. Eric, can you tell us more about the nature of the investigation?
Well, John, Jenna, the investigation began back in 2018 into Hunter Biden, and it started off as a probe into money laundering, but it's now morphed into so much more, including business dealings in China and possible violations of tax laws regarding money earned in Ukraine. It's also expanded to include Hunter's uncle, the president-elect's younger brother, James Biden.
Biden and his son are stone cold crooked.
President Trump tried to make that connection throughout the 2020 campaign. New revelations indicate President-elect Biden is not a target of this current investigation. Last week, Hunter Biden announced that he is under investigation for possible tax fraud. Reports indicate that stems chiefly from $400,000 in unreported income he received in 2017 while sitting on the board of Ukraine natural gas company Burisma. A year Biden reportedly netted $1.2 million in income. In a statement, Hunter Biden said, "I take this matter very seriously, but I am confident that a professional and objective review of these matters will demonstrate that I handled my affairs legally and appropriately, including with the benefit of professional tax advisors." Biden held the position at Burisma while his father was vice president and in charge of Ukraine-U.S. affairs. Back in October, the New York Post first reported emails emerging on a laptop in Delaware suggesting Joe Biden had met with a Burisma executive at his son's behest.
I want to get to the heart of it. Did you and your father ever discuss Ukraine?
No.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. Probably not. The only qualification they had was the Biden name.
Former business associate Tony Bobulinski told Fox News Hunter and his uncle, James Biden, used their name to also help broker deals with a Chinese company, another subject of the investigation. ABC News reports investigators are specifically focusing on a 2.8-carat diamond Hunter received in 2017 from Chinese business associate Yi Jingming, the former head of CEFC, China Energy, as well as multi-million-dollar wire transfers between the two. Bobulinski tells Fox News Hunter set up a meeting between him and then Vice President Biden to try and solicit his help in brokering a China deal.
There was no other reason for me to be in that bar meeting Joe Biden than to discuss what I was doing with his family's name in the Chinese CFC. Jim Biden sat and Hunter Biden participated in. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were dealing with a Chinese-owned, enterprise run by Chairman Yi, CFC, that had strong financial support and political support from the Chinese Communist Party.
A recently emerged email also coming from that Delaware laptop indicates Hunter asked for extra keys to his Washington, D.C. office for his new office mates, including his father and a representative of that same Chinese-owned enterprise. Again, Joe Biden maintains he had no involvement in Hunter's business dealings with China.
That's a blatant lie. When he states that, that is a blatant lie.
Another focus of the investigation, Joe Biden's younger brother, James Biden, and his role in a bankrupt hospital business in Pennsylvania. Senate Homeland Security Chairman Ron Johnson has been investigating the Biden family for more than a year.
We are finding more and more of how involved not only Hunter Biden was, but also James as well as Joe Biden. And he has not been truthful with the American public. And it's about time the press starts asking him questions.
The Biden transition team released this response to the investigation. President-elect Biden is deeply proud of his son, who has fought through difficult challenges, including the vicious personal attacks of recent months, only to emerge stronger. The broader investigation has been ongoing since 2018. Attorney General Bill Barr did not call attention to it during the election, in keeping with Justice Department policy not to influence elections, a decision roundly criticized on Saturday by Barr's current boss.
Bill Barr, frankly, did the wrong thing. Bill Barr, I know, had an obligation to set the record straight.
It would be up to a new attorney general to carry this investigation forward, a cabinet choice likely getting renewed attention by Joe Biden and his advisors.
Again, President-elect Biden is not a target of these investigations into the financial dealings of his family members. And Biden has said going forward, his family will not involve itself in business that conflicts or appears to conflict with his duties as president. Back to you in the studio.
Eric, quick question here. It's hard to imagine, but could this have any impact on the November election?
John, likely not. Congress will convene on January 6th to formally confirm this election. Now, some are hoping that this investigation into Hunter and his uncle and the Biden family business will cast enough shadow of a doubt to prompt Congress to not confirm that election on January 6th. But again, that's not likely to happen. A long shot at best.
All right, Eric Phillips, great reporting. Thank you very much. And we'll be right back.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
A few years ago, CBN introduced you to a group of nuns who do two things very well. They pray and they make Gouda cheese.
Two very important things. Well, in the year 2020, they're still at it. And as Heather Sells shows us, they have a special burden to pray for those both serving and suffering in this pandemic.
This is the heart of this cloistered Trappist nun community, gathering for worship and prayer 7 times a day, starting at 3:15 in the morning. And this is the Cheese Barn, where the 12 sisters at Our Lady of the Angels make close to 20,000 pounds of Gouda every year.
Most of their $250,000 business is mail order, although some local shops drive out monthly for the cheese their customers crave.
The flavor's great. It's on the mild end in terms of intensity, but it's delicious and really versatile. You can use it for cooking, or you can just nosh it with salami and olives and bread.
When they started, the nuns knew nothing about how to make cheese. Today, they literally cannot keep up with the demand from food connoisseurs around the country.
It sort of sells itself. People get it as a gift. And they call and they say, could I order some of this cheese?
Sister Barbara is one of the original 6 who was sent by a large monastery in Massachusetts to start anew on this gorgeous piece of land near Charlottesville, Virginia. The goal, follow the centuries-old rules of St. Benedict by building a life based on prayer and engage in manual labor to support themselves. Happily for the sisters, the property they bought already featured a cheese-making facility.
We were so naive, we thought it'd be so simple. You have some of this equipment here, and you just get some milk and a few lessons and just make some cheese.
But the sisters persevered, and they got it right, really right. They allot 30-some days a year to make the Gouda, and everyone pitches in. Sister Maria is the designated cheese cook. She must manipulate some 6,000 pounds of pasteurized milk with a little culture and rennet into several hundred wheels of cheese. It looks easy, but like any good recipe, it's all about precision, getting the correct temperature, cutting the curds at just the right moment, heating them, then draining the whey, and finally pressing the cheese. Over the years, the sisters have not only perfected their technique, they have never bungled a batch. That's almost unheard of. The sisters say prayer is a big part of their work, from making the cheese to sending it out.
While I'm doing it, I'm really praying for the people who are gonna eat that cheese. I mean, I know every family, every person have problems.
For every 5 cheese orders that come in the mail, at least 1, maybe out of every 4, 1 will have a request for prayers.
Prayer is also the reason the nuns say they won't grow their business.
People will come in and say, well, you sold out last year, so you're going to make more next year, aren't you?
What is happening here? A seeking after the Lord that is visibly discernible.
It's fun to see the nuns, and they're so, kind and calm and mellow. It sort of slows you down a little bit.
When they're not in the chapel or making the cheese, the nuns do admit to eating it, often. And there is a preferred method.
You toast a piece of bread so that the bread is kind of crispy. And then you put a couple thin slices of cheese on, put it in the microwave for 25 seconds.
Flash forward to 2020, and the sisters say the pandemic has made them even more conscious of the need to pray. They're especially mindful of healthcare workers and those who have lost a loved one. A new puppy, Skippy, has added joy to their lives, but otherwise, their days continue as they always have, full of prayer and ministry opportunities in simple 2-pound wheels of cheese. Heather Sells, CBN News.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Three, two, one. I'm Ephraim Graham. Welcome to Studio 5.
Get on it.
All that's new and now in the world of uplifting entertainment with celebrity interviews.
There's a higher contribution I will make.
Musical performances. I'll give you my best praise. Plus movie and TV news.
See it and be uplifted.
On Studio 5. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern at cbn.com/Studio 5.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to cbn.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Welcome back. Well, finally tonight, an amazing archaeological find.
Yeah, it came just about 20 miles outside Jerusalem. Archaeologists uncovered hundreds of oil lamps and one of the largest oil lamp workshops ever found in Israel from 1,700 years ago. They also found terracotta figurines of animals, horse riders, and women. 2 of the lamps bore images of the temple menorah, and others carried a fish symbol of the early Christianity. Archaeologists say it proves the local population was a mix of pagans, Christians, and Jews.
Great find. Thanks for watching Faith Nation.